Now it will be available to all of us because they will be charging us IGST. Which are the taxes subsumed under GST and which are the taxes not subsumed under GST? Custom duty, basic custom duty. Export duty, property tax, stamp duty, security transaction tax, environment tax. These are not. The central taxes which have been subsumed are excise duty, service tax, CST, surcharge and cess, and estate tax, VAT, entertainment tax, luxury tax, entry tax, surcharge, taxes on lottery. These are the taxes subsumed under GST. The state GST portion comprises of all earlier taxes levied by the state governments, and central GST is comprising of the taxes levied by the central government. Cascading effect of tax will not be there. As I said that central taxes were not available as SENVAT. Now it will be available. We were required to get registration under various acts. Now that registration will not be required. We'll have registration under one act only, that is GST Act. Entry tax. Entry tax will not be there. Octroi duty will not be there. So to that extent, at least people who are in Mumbai, they will be saving a lot, because octroi duty was 5 to 6% of the cost of the product. Now that will be saved. Double taxation was there. As far as softwares were concerned, there was doubt whether VAT is applicable or service tax is applicable. In which circumstances service tax is applicable, in which circumstances VAT is applicable. Restaurant sale, again double taxation, full rate of VAT on the sale price of goods and 15% of 30% price by liable for service tax. Now it will not be there. Various acts were having various provisions regarding the maintenance of accounts and billing format, etc. Under excise, a particular format was to be followed. VAT authorities were saying in this fashion you have to prepare the invoice. Now that problem will not be there. These are all benefits which you are all aware. In fact, friends, this is our basic. This slide is our basic slide, which we have been carrying for last 3-4 months everywhere, wherever we have been going. And when your association called me, in fact, I was not in India. I was out of India. I came day before yesterday only. And therefore, we have not changed the basic slides. Basic slides remain same because the basic overview of GST remains same. As far as the hotel industry is concerned, I have jotted down certain points which are of concern to the hotel industry that will come little later. GST will be applicable on supply of goods or services. This aspect we have to remember very clearly. Earlier the concept was sale of goods or rendering of services. Now that concept of sale of goods is not there. Concept is now supply. Whether it is sale or not, If it is a supply, it is taxable. So in so many places you must have seen people were sending goods on approval basis. So in approval basis, what was happening, when the person was accepting the goods, at that time sale was ascertained and at that time invoice was prepared. Now when it has been sent, it will be considered as a supply and tax has to be charged at that point itself. If the person doesn't accept the goods, returned back, we have to issue a credit note and therefore that entry will be reversed by way of credit note only. It cannot be done that the goods has been sent on challan and thereafter invoice is prepared later on. No. On supply itself, tax has to be paid. Likewise for services also, whenever there is a supply, I will come to that time of supply also where advances etc. has to be considered. Destination based consumption tax, of course, dual GST. GST would apply to all goods other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption and 5 petroleum products. 5 petroleum products, petrol, diesel, etc. have been kept out of the purview of GST at present. These may be included little later. And the item of concern for our purpose is alcoholic liquor. Alcoholic liquor, whatever we are serving in our restaurants and in hotels, it is out of the purview of GST at present. If it is out of the purview of GST, that does not mean no tax will be levied thereon. State VAT will continue to be applicable on liquor sale. So wherever we are having a restaurant or whatever service center where we are supplying liquor, liquor bill will have to be made separately. On that, VAT has to be charged in the same manner in which we are charging today. There is no change as far as the Maharashtra state is concerned. In Maharashtra state, we have that formula by which the manufacturer is paying on MRP multiplied by 35 divided by 135 and the retailer is paying on 5%, 20%, etc. The same formula will continue. As per the notification issued by Maharashtra government, all VAT tin which were there before 30th June are deemed to have been cancelled. But in case of those dealers who are dealing in petroleum goods and in alcoholic liquor, their numbers have remained continued. And I will request all of you to please check whether by mistake they have not cancelled your number also. So it will be necessary for all of us to check on the website of the Maharashtra Tax Department that your number continues, because you will require that number for charging VAT on liquor sale. GST cannot be levied. There is a news item that certain hotels, that restaurants are charging on the total bill VAT as well as GST. And there is a directive issued that they should not do like that. As far as liquor is concerned, you charge VAT. As far as food is concerned, you charge GST. So this we have to remember, that as far as liquor is concerned, it will continue to be chargeable for VAT till there are changes done in the law. All services would be liable for GST. And hotel industry may recall that before 1982, the food served in a restaurant, there was a dispute whether it is sale of goods or it is a service. The state government was saying it is sale of goods. The hotel industry was claiming it is service of food, it is not sale of goods. And if you recall that case of Northern India caterers, where the Supreme Court decided that food served in a hotel or restaurant for human consumption is not sale of goods, it is a service. And on what basis they decided? They said that for sale of goods, there has to be three component compulsory. There have to be two parties. There has to be consideration for supply of goods, and there has to be delivery of goods. Then in the argument it was said there are two parties. Yes, hotelier is there and the consumer is there. There is a consideration that he is paying price for that whatever he is ordering. Then as far as the delivery is concerned, when the question of delivery came, the court said, where is the delivery? You served food in the restaurant, the person consumed it, he does not carry with him anything. Therefore, there is no delivery. It is not a delivery, therefore, it is not sale of goods. It is VAT, or that's at that time sales tax was there. Sales tax cannot be levied on restaurant sale. That was the Supreme Court decision. At that time, several hotels, that 5-star hotels, published in newspaper that if any of the customer is having our invoice where we have charged VAT to you, please come to us with that invoice and we'll refund you the VAT amount. Then there were several other things also on which there were Supreme Court decisions that this is not liable for sales tax, and therefore they amended the constitution. They amended the constitution and they said that these items, although not a sale under Sale of Goods Act, but for the purposes of Sales Tax Act, these will be deemed sale of goods. So this concept of deemed sale of goods started in 1982, and then since then we have been paying VAT on service of food in hotel and restaurant. At that time, service tax concept was not there. It came much later, somewhere in 94. It started on 2 items, then gradually spread over, and slowly they started saying that some part in this transaction, some part is service, at least on that part we should get tax. Construction of buildings, leasing, hotel sale, all those items were there. So at that time constitution was amended to say it is deemed sale of goods. Now again in GST they have said that sale by hotel and restaurant, food served in hotel and restaurant will be considered as service. So under GST, whether we are providing hotel accommodation services or we are serving food or drinks, it is service only, it is not supply of goods, it is supply of services. All our products, whatever we are serving, these are all supply of services, no supply of goods. So we'll be falling under the service category. All hotels and restaurants will be falling in service category, not in the supply of goods category. So that HSN code, etc. are not applicable to us. Wherever they have been talking about that in tax invoice, you have to write HSN code, HSN code, HSN code. Those codes are not applicable to us. as far as the sale is concerned, our revenue is concerned. It is all from services. Tobacco, 20 lakh, 10 lakh turnover limit for that registration, and for the 20 lakhs you have to consider the all India turnover. Suppose you are having a hotel in Mumbai, also hotel in uh, Gujarat or Delhi. Total turnover is to be considered for the purposes of registration. May not be much of interest to all of us. There is a provision for composition levy. Composition levy is basically applicable to supplier of goods or manufacturer of goods. But on our request, this was a request made by our association, Bombay Chartered Society, on the basis of that existing provision of composition levy under the Maharashtra VAT law, that hotels and restaurants should be included in composition levy. Because there are several small hotels, dhabas, where they serve food. And if you ask them to pay 12%, 18%, prepare invoice, etc., they may not be able to do it. Therefore, they included this as additional item in that composition levy clause. And it is the only service provider which is eligible for composition. Restaurant. Hotel is not eligible. Accommodation part, we are not eligible. As far as restaurant sale is concerned, we are eligible for composition levy, and this composition levy at present, the turnover limit is 75 lakhs rupees. If your total turnover is 75 lakhs, then you can opt for composition. In the preceding year, 75 lakh turnover. So small restaurants may take benefit thereof. My request to your association would be, when that commissioner or any person from the ministry or department comes, please press upon this point that this turnover limit as far as 75 lakh is concerned for hotel, it should be increased. In Maharashtra at present, the composition scheme which is there for VAT, there is no limit. Any restaurant can opt for that, whether you are having turnover of 5 crore or 50 lakhs. Because it becomes easier. They have not to charge in the invoice that what is the VAT amount. You just pay 5%. Do not charge anything from the customer. It is included in your price. No separate charging of tax. Then restriction is neither you can charge tax from your customer, nor you can avail input tax credit. Input tax credit as far as our purchases are concerned in restaurant part. In hotel part there may be many things. As far as restaurant part is concerned, in restaurant most of the items purchased may be falling in exempted category, tax-free category. Grains, vegetables, fruits. Some of the items may be falling in taxable category. So earlier under the VAT, we felt that as far as restaurants are concerned, input tax credit is very less amount. So we ignore that input tax credit and we go for the composition scheme. Therefore, when a meeting was there with the Maharashtra finance minister a few years ago, we insisted upon that as far as restaurants are concerned, they should be charged, they should be put in the composition scheme of 5%, and that suggestion was accepted. Therefore, at present till 30th June, that 5% composition scheme is applicable in Maharashtra. Now, from 1st July under GST, this 5% composition scheme is there, but restricted to 75 lakh rupees turnover. So only small restaurants may take benefit thereof. Otherwise, all big restaurants will have to charge tax. Interstate supply we are not making, so we are not concerned. And as far as the registration is concerned, in registration, you may be having several hotels and restaurants within the state. Suppose in Maharashtra, you are having one hotel in Mumbai, another in Aurangabad, Nagpur, Nashik, anywhere. As per the scheme of GST, only one registration number is to be granted for one